Hello, I'm Cindy from Gertens, and we are here today to learn all about sprouts. You might be asking yourself, why on earth would I want to grow and eat sprouted seeds? Well, let me tell you, they are nutritious, they are full of enzymes, antioxidants, they have vitamins, calcium, and more. You can't believe how exciting they are to eat and how beneficial they are to you. So what we're going to do today is go through just how to grow sprouts and have success in doing it. I'll touch a little bit on microgreens as well, because I know a lot of people like to compare the two. But honestly, we're gonna focus on the sprouts here and go through just how to do it. Again, they have a lot of health benefits, but a few other really important things to know about sprouts is they are super easy to grow. Takes very few supplies to grow them, and fun for the whole family, easy, gratifying, and you don't have to have a green thumb to do it. You really don't. So let's get started. What I did just the other day is I did start some of our salad mix. And the salad mix is nice and bright, and it works well in sandwiches, soups, salads. So I decided to start with a salad mix. There are many varieties. You can grow wheat berry, a sandwich mix. Here is the salad mix that I started. There's mung beans, alfalfa, and of course, tasty broccoli. This is one way you can get your kids to eat broccoli. All right? But honestly, you can choose any of these. They're super fun to grow. They all look different. The seeds will sprout differently at different times, different germination rates. So it is kind of a trial and error to see what you like the flavors of and what you want to grow next. Let's talk about supplies before we get started, just so you know what you need. First of all, sprouting seeds. Essential to have sprouting seeds. There's a lot of varieties that you can choose. Just make sure it says sprouting seeds. These have been specially grown, packaged, and monitored so that they are safe to eat as sprouts. You don't want to just go to buy regular seeds and use them as a sprouting seed, because the sprouting seeds are specially made for this. They go through some very strict rules in order to become a sprouting seed. And we want you to be safe in doing this, so make sure you always use sprouting seeds. So again, you got a nice variety of seeds to choose from. The next thing you're going to need, what I like to use, is just a glass mason jar. Make sure it's clean, make sure it's sanitary, make sure it is very clean, sanitary, and dry. And that's where you start. As far as what to rinse them with, cover them with, drain them with, there's many things you can use. You can use, one of my favorites is just a coffee filter. Just a coffee filter. It will hold your seeds in, but yet let the water through. You can use a colander. It would have to have small holes in it. You can use screening. You can use cheesecloth. You can buy special lids that actually go on top of canning jars or mason jars that fit, and they have a little screen top. You can buy them for sprouting seeds if you wish to do that. You can also go to a craft store and get some of that little screening, that plastic screening that they use for crafts, and you can put that on top too. So, sky's the limit. As long as your seeds stay in, water passes through, air flows in. That's all you really need. Another thing I use is rubber bands, okay? So rubber bands will hold things snug. That's another real simple thing that you probably have in your drawer at home. So again, what I did the last few days here, I used my mason jars, my coffee filters, my rubber bands, and I do use my favorite little colander here, just because this one does have the tiny little holes so you can drain easily. And that's the supplies you need. The only thing I left out was the water. You need water. Nice, clean, fresh water. If you do have filtered water, that's going to be the best. If your water has a lot of not so pretty things in it, you can definitely buy bottled water if you'd like to rinse them in. Rinsing is essential. because as you see on all the backs of the packets, it's going to have you rinse twice a day, and that's a key to success. So let's go through the steps. I'm going to show you just how to do this so you can be successful. So you got your sprouts, right? You bought your seeds. Again, they come in many kinds. This is a nice little rainbow mix with some lentils, some peas, garbanzo beans in. This is a little sandwich mix. They're going to look all a little bit different when you open up the packages. You will take and measure how many you want to put into your jar. Last night, what I did is I started a fresh jar to show you how this would work. I took my seeds, took my clean jar, and I grabbed about a tablespoon of seeds. Get this up close here so you can see it. Grabbed about a tablespoon of seeds. Nothing is a recipe here, so you're growing as many as you want to use. Put them into the jar. I filled the jar up with water about 3/4 of the way. Put my lid on the jar, coffee filter. Added the rubber band to it. And that is night 1. See how easy that was? Night 1. Let it sit on the counter. What this is going to do, it's going to swell the seeds up and make them start to germinate essentially. So they're going to start to germinate. This morning, so I did that overnight at room temperature on the counter. This morning, I took them, opened it up, and I took my colander. I poured water. You can go to your kitchen sink, it works a lot better. But I poured water into the jar, filled it up, ran them through the colander, and then I took my seeds and put them back into the jar. As you can see, they are starting to swell. You can see some little green cracks starting to emerge from the seed. They're starting to open up. It helps them swell. So day 2, I'm in the morning now. What I did is I rinsed them, covered them back up, set them back on the counter, and that's the state that I brought them into you. That night, you are going to take them and you are going to take and open up the jar once again. You're going to run them through the rinse. And I'm actually going to do that with this one just to show you how that works. These have been germinating for about 3 days now, is where this group is at, 3 days into germination. Each day you rinse them in the morning and you rinse them at night. So about every 12 hours you're going to be rinsing your seeds. Everybody's going to ask me, why do I have to do that? That's to prevent mold and fungus from growing on your seeds. Obviously you don't want to eat that. So you do want to keep them clean and fresh. And rinsing with clean water is going to do that. And you want to do it again every 12 hours. So I like to do it in the morning when I get up, and then I do it at night before I go to bed. That way it's a no-brainer. You don't have to think about the hours you're doing it or the timing on it. And if you're an hour late one day, an hour early the next day, it really doesn't matter. It's not that critical to have it right on. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to have you pretend this is our kitchen sink here. I have got my colander. I put a coffee filter again inside it just so that I can be able to make sure I got all my seeds. And if I was at a sink, I'd fill this up with water and I would literally run this right through the colander. Shake them in, give your jar another rinse, and then put that through as well. And as the water comes out, the seeds are going to be cleaned and freshened. If your water's ever cloudy, you want to keep rinsing until the water's not cloudy anymore. And then once they're done draining, you pop them back into the jar. And what I like to tell people to do then after they do that is take your jar and shake it a little bit. Got a little action in the store here going by. We're always busy here. So you want to shake them on the side of the jar a little bit just so that they're separated inside the jar and so that they don't clump up. It helps them to grow better. The other thing you can do after you've got them back into the jar and you've rinsed them is you can literally take a nice bowl and put it on your countertop like this. That way, any extra water can drain out into the bowl. The seeds will stay a little bit drier. They won't get molded as well. And then you have more air circulation around your sprouts as they go. So little tips like this helps too, okay? Little tip on the side like that. So we have drained these. They are ready to go back into the jar. Again, we're on about day 3 here. I rinsed them in the morning. I rinsed them at night each day, putting it back into the jar and literally sitting them on the counter. They don't have to be in the sunshine. In fact, if you put them in a lit windowsill, they're going to elongate too much and they're going to grow too fast. You want to slow it down a little bit. So you do want to just have them just on the counter. They don't have to be in any brightness by any means. When they get to this state, on this particular sandwich mix here, this was day 7. This is day 7 of this lovely sandwich mix, and it is ready to eat, by the way. On that day, or the day before, you can actually set them on a windowsill and give them some sunshine. That will give them this nice bright green color. As they're growing, you're going to see them be just a little bit more yellowed. So if we go back into our colander here and look, you can see a big difference of adding sunshine and not having sunshine. And you really don't need them to be green and bright and need that elongation until they're in about one of their last days of sprouting. So again, some of these seeds are going to take 5 days of germination. Some will take 7. Some will take maybe up to 12. It depends on your variety of seeds that you're growing. Patience, patience, right? And they are delicious. Again, they are packed with nutrients. They're so good. If you're eating regular seeds, so say you're eating sunflower seeds or something like that, just in the shell, there's a lot less nutrition in that than there is in a sprouted seed. And that's what makes these such a powerhouse. They are loaded with nutrition because they are out of their seed form and they are starting to grow and you're eating the entire thing. So delicious, delicious. Very good. Looks like we might have a question.
Yeah, one question we have is, once they're ready to eat, how quickly do we need to eat them before they go bad?
All right, how quickly do you have to eat them before they go bad? When they are ready. Sprouting seeds, again, they germinate at different rates. So you do want to have, them at their peak. So don't grow too many, okay? You'll want to measure out what you want to utilize and then store them in your refrigerator after you've completed their growing cycle. So once they reach this state, you want to store them in your refrigerator immediately. And they're only good for about 1 to 2, maybe 3 days. You don't want them to get old. You don't want them to, again, grow mold or fungus. You want to keep them in your refrigerator for just a few days. And then you can enjoy and eat them. Looks like we've got another question.
We do, and one of the questions is, are the germination rates on the package?
Some of the germination rates will be on the package, and some you're just going to have to go by. So let me pick up wheatberry here. Wheatberry is going to tell you how many grams are in here, tells you how to grow it. It doesn't say exactly how long it's going to be. However, there's some great online information if you Google it. If I am sprouting wheatberry seeds, how long will they take to germinate? And that will be very accessible. So it's not always on the package. You might have to do a little further research to get that. It's like we got another question.
One more question is, do you have any favorite ways to eat sprouts?
Do I have any favorite ways to eat sprouts? Okay, let me tell you. These are good. And I think you're going to learn a whole new way to enjoy sprouts. You can put them on a sandwich, and I actually fixed up a little sandwich here, and like I said, these are ready to eat. Just look at those. Anybody want a bite? You can put them right on your sandwich. Look at the garnish that'll do, right on your sandwich, in your soup, in your salad, on the side. Some people just take a handful of it and eat it. Okay, you could just literally eat this. So good. They are just so beautiful even to look at. They've got their little roots growing, they've got their little leaves, they got the little seed casing still in there, and you can eat the whole thing. Very, very good. Adds a little crunch. And what child wouldn't run up to a sandwich and eat that? That's a good conversation piece. So again, soups, salads, sandwiches, people eat them just fresh too. Very good. Some people will freeze them too. If you take them and put them into a bag, a Ziploc bag or something similar, a freezer type bag, sandwich them between some paper towels, you can do that as well. I would suggest using something like a salad spinner to spin the water out of the foliage before you pack it into a bag. Sandwich it again between paper towels, and then you can freeze them too into servings. So again, if you want to just put them into something like this and utilize them, you can. Now I can't not talk about microgreens, because microgreens are a very similar item that we do like to have people grow as well for fun. And winter is an awesome time to do this. Don't think you can't garden in the winter, because you certainly can. Microgreens is a different kind of operation, different kind of seeds. For microgreen growing, and we should do a class on this too, but you basically need a tray, some sort of material to grow them on. This happens to be just a moisture pad, like a cocoa pad. You can use cocoa coir, put it in there, and you are saturating, and I'll do it real briefly here just so you know how to do it, but briefly you're saturating the pad or the medium that you're growing it in, sprinkling a group of seeds right over the top, and then you are putting another dome over the top, essentially letting them germinate. You're using a mister bottle to water it to keep the pad and the soil moist as you're growing. You're doing that again twice a day because you do want to keep it hydrated. You're putting another catch basin underneath, so once they start to root through the first layer, then they're able to grab some more water. You can do that easily too. Lots of different kinds of greens to grow. You got basil, you got sunflowers, you got arugula. You getting hungry for lunch? Wheatgrass. And then what you're doing to harvest these, this is a little bit different. You are going in and cutting the tops off. So you are essentially taking a knife and cutting the foliage and the stem and eating that portion. You're not eating the roots, you're not pulling them out of the medium, but you're just cutting that top and eating that top part. Nothing more, nothing less. Again, super nutritious, it's just a different way to grow. And these are microgreens. These are going to need some light when they start to grow, when they start to come up, and you're letting the little babies get about that tall. It's like a little hedge. You just cut them off and eat them. Super, super nutritious, super, super good. These you can use standard seeds for. You can, because you're eating the tops. You're not eating the roots and the seed hulls. Sprouting seeds, you're eating the whole thing, so you have to have special sprouting seeds. Does that help answer that and put the difference between?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Any final thoughts? Enjoy it. Get the whole family involved in it. Enjoy them. You are going to learn how many different flavors there are. Like if you buy the radish, you buy the mung beans, the broccoli, the alfalfa. They all have different flavors, and they're all awesome to try. Super fun to grow, gratifying, and again, you don't need a green thumb. So feel free to jump in and ask any questions on our Facebook page, and we'll get back to you. Thanks again.